Hello, lovely humans in Janet's group. I decided to pop on a little early so that way people could start getting on, coming on to watch if they want to. My phone might fall over. It's precariously leaning against a candle holder, and every time my phone dings with a notification, it tips off. So, yes. Hopefully, if it does fall, it'll be fine. I'll just pick it up. But I just wanted to warn you if that's what happens. All right, so we're going to wait a few minutes till more people pop on. But yeah, how's everyone doing? Hello, Miss Janet. Thank you so much for having me in your group. I'm really excited to be here and to tell you all why you look like shit in your photographs. It's just a really clickbaity title. I will let you know that right now. It's not what you think it is. It'll be fine. Everybody will be great. It's going to be a delight. So I'll give you a little bit of background on myself. We got about 6 people on, so that's good. So my name is Terry Hofford, and I am a body image activist and boudoir photographer in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And I've been doing boudoir photography for about 4 years. And it was through doing boudoir that I really started to notice a lot of trends. Don't be starstruck, you silly nut. It's fine. But I started to notice a bunch of different trends that started to appear in the clients that I was seeing. And I was then able to also look at my own personal experience and see how it related to my own experiences as well. And that got me to doing some thinking. So, hello, Lacey. So, today's talk is going to be about basically the main kinds of trends that I started to notice, and that what we think to be true and what is true are two very different things. So, that's what we're going to go through. Now, I'm sure Janet can speak to this as well, but I can let you know that for the last 4 years, I have never had a client come into my studio and say, "Oh my God, I look amazing in photographs, please take my picture." Not once has that ever happened in the studio. I have, however, had it almost every time a client has walked in where they say, I don't take good photos, or I don't look good in photographs, or I just never take a good picture. Basically, it's the common consensus among everyone. Everyone believes that they will be the one that's going to break my camera, break Janet's camera, break everybody's camera. And I can let you know for a fact that that is impossible unless you actually take my camera and throw it on the ground. Please don't do that. But we have this silly misconception that we look like shit in photographs, and it's kind of silly. So I'm going to go through about 5 different reasons why you think that may be true, and they're pretty common. I think pretty common reasons that I noticed. And fun fact is that it has nothing to do with the actual photograph or actually with your physical appearance. It has more to do with this little noodle up here, your mind. All right, so we're going to jump right into it. So, first and foremost, I want you to think about when you look at photos, there's a trend that I notice. When you look at photos of yourself, which photos do you tend to like, from the most? Are they full body shots? Are they face head-on shots? Things like that. In my experience with the clients that I have, when we're going through their images in their reveal process, we go through them one at a time on the computer, and the ones that the majority of clients tend to stay away from or say no to are ones where they are face forward to the camera, whether full body or just their face, and making eye contact with themselves. And that got me to doing some research as to why do most people not like photos where they're looking at themselves. Well, if you think about it, less than 4% of the world is symmetrical in their face. Like, that's insane. The majority of us, this half of my face is totally different than this half of my face. And if you think about it, you've only been looking at yourself for the majority of the time you see yourself in the form of a reflection. Anytime you look in a mirror, first thing when you wake up in the morning, it's a mirror. When you pass a window, it's a mirror. When you look in your car, it's a mirror. Even on your cell phone, when you take a picture, your cell phone, you take it the right way, your camera actually will flip it. Your phone will actually flip your picture to make it a reflection. So here's the thing, you've gotten to know yourself and the way you look based on the reflection of yourself. And because we are not symmetrical, when you are faced with the way you look to everyone else, you are like, who is that? That is not me. It's uncomfortable. It's a little unsettling because it's not who you know yourself to be. And in fact, there was a study done that said if you were to walk down the street and then here comes the other you actually wouldn't recognize yourself because our symmetry is so different. And that's crazy to me, but it does make sense because if you think about it, a lot of times people are like, oh my God, you look like so-and-so, or you look like this celebrity, or they have an easier time picking out your doppelganger than you do. Like, have you ever been like, oh my God, that person looks exactly like me? Never, because we see ourselves different than other people see us. Now, the way our brain works though, and with the conditioning that we've put ourselves through, is that anytime something is appearance-based, our brain automatically defaults to the negative. So if it's uncomfortable, it's negative. Our brain is like, ooh, don't like that. Nope, not a fan. And it's not that it is actually bad. It's just that it's uncomfortable. So one of the best ways to show this is I have a few. I'm going to flip my phone camera around, hopefully. Give me 1 second. I'm going to use my little pop socket to hopefully not, hold on. to hopefully not break anything. All right. So, oh, sorry. I'm just going to do a little boob wipe off here. Sorry. I got the boob sweat on my camera. I'm a totally classy broad, guys. Okay. There we go. Better. So I did a project where I photographed women and then I flipped their photos to see which one they would like more. And every single person chose the flipped version of their photo as opposed to their face-on photo. So this is Miss Ivy. This is the way I see her, but she preferred this photo of herself more. And if you can see them side by side, you can see that both sides of her face are different. Even it comes down to the head tilt. If you're used to tilting your head one way when you look in the mirror, if you see a photo where it's tilted the other way, you're going to be like, oh, new Terry, who dis? Like, you're not going to recognize the person that's looking back at you, so it's going to be uncomfortable, and your brain's going to be like, oh my God, I look terrible in this photo. No, you don't look terrible in the photo, you just look different. Same thing with Miss Fee here. She tilted her chin a bit to the right, her right, and then she preferred this photo more because this is what she's used to seeing when she looks in the mirror. Same thing here with Miss Janelle. You can see even as small as if you look at the smile. The smile is a bit tighter up here than it is here. Everyone's got one eye that closes a bit more than the other one. So if you flip it, that's what she's used to seeing when she smiles at herself in the mirror. To her, this eye should be like that, not this eye. Does that make sense? It's kind of creepy. And then we have Miss Chloe, who has a lot of texture in her face. And same kind of thing, her lips here, if we look over here, totally different on this side. And I did this a few times with a bunch of different models, just to see. I didn't tell them what I was doing. I just wanted to see if they would choose photos that were more comfortable based on the flipping. So first of all, there are requirements to wear nothing with logos, because if there were words, they would know it was flipped. But then I would take the same shot, I would flip it and put it later on in the gallery so they forgot that the first way that I took it was there. And then by the time they got to the second one, they'd always choose that one over the other one, solely based on the fact that they are used to seeing a reflection of themselves. So the best way I can relate this particular reason why you hate the way you look in photos is if you've ever heard yourself on a recording or tape. I'm from that era of tape. If you've ever heard your voice on a recording, you're probably like, oh God, I hate it. Oh, it's the worst. And the thing is that's what you sound like to everyone else. But in our heads, we hear ourselves one specific way. So when we hear the opposite of that, again, it's uncomfortable. But I can tell you, after doing a lot of Facebook Lives, a lot of tutorials and videos where I have to listen to my own voice, it gets easier over time. And it's not that I'm like, oh my God, I have the best voice ever. No, it's just, it is what it is. This is my voice. That is what it sounds like on a recording. This is what it sounds like in my head. They're not good or bad. They just are. It kind of takes the feeling part out of it. It makes it a little less personal. Helps you just accept that that's what I look like. Or sound like in that case. So I always challenge people, exposure therapy exists for a reason. And what exposure therapy means is taking the thing that makes you uncomfortable and exposing yourself to it. So in this case of having photos taken, a lot of times I will send my clients home with one photo that makes them the most uncomfortable and have them look at it over and over and over again until it becomes comfortable. Again, not having to love it, but just start to take away those negative feelings that exist. So my challenge to you would be to go home, or unless you're at home, find a photo that you're like, oh, I put that away and never want to fucking look at that again. Sorry, I'm going to swear a lot, just an FYI. I'm never going to look at that photo again. Pull it out, look at it, journal your thoughts, and consider that maybe it's just different. It's not bad. Okay? So that's reason number 1, reflections. They fuck us up. All right. Reason number 2, this is a big one, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the last one, is that you don't get to see what the rest of us get to see. I don't think it's very often that you're looking in a mirror and you're in a full-on belly laugh, or you're looking in the mirror and you're saying something that's like super passionate to you, like you're super passionate about something. You're not doing that when you look in the mirror. You never get to see yourself truly expressing emotion, and therefore you don't get to see the beauty that exists in those things. However, when somebody takes a candid photo of us in the middle of a belly laugh, or excitedly talking about something, or in my case, using my hands a lot when I talk, it can be very overwhelming for me. And one of the things I notice a lot with boudoir clients is that photos where they tend to be, unless they've already owned their sexuality, as far as like, yes, I am a sexual person, I find, myself included, they get uncomfortable around photos where they look overtly sensual or sexual, because we never get to see that, unless, of course, you have mirrors on your ceiling, which, power to you. But the thing is we don't get to see ourselves the way our partner gets to see us, the way our children get to see us, the way our best friends get to see us. We don't get to see these genuine emotions. And when we do see them, again, it's just like seeing a reflection of ourselves. It can be overwhelming. This was the middle of a laugh. I said something probably incredibly inappropriate, and I caught a split second where she giggled. And to her, she loves this photo, but at first she was like, oh, I didn't know that's what I look like. Or her, when she saw a photo of herself kind of in a moment of what we like to think is a moment of pleasure or very sensual. Or when your person looks at you, you don't get to see what that looks like when you look at your person. And it's one of the most beautiful things in the world. And again, it comes down to that you're just not used to it. So when somebody takes a candid photo of you and tags it on Facebook or things like that, don't get caught up on, oh, that's what I look like when I do that thing. Instead, say, that's what I look like when I do that thing. It's not good or bad, it just is. You can see that there's a theme here. It's not good or bad, it just is. All right, so that's reason number 2. Reason number 3, this is an expectation I set with my clients, and Janet might be very much the same. Before I play their slideshow at their reveal, I always set a few different expectations, but one of the ones I let women know most is that when they see photos of themselves, their instinct is, well, I'm going to make sure my phone's not going to fall, okay? Their instinct is to hyper-focus on certain parts of their face or their body whenever they look at any photos. So before they see the ones from our session, I let them know that their brain is going to go boop right to whatever part of their body or face that is for them. Because when we do that, when we're zeroing in on this tiny little part of ourselves, we're missing the entire context of the photograph or the moment that we were in then. So I always tell my clients, catch yourself zeroing in, because this is a habit, which means you can break it. You just got to be mindful you're doing it. Catch yourself doing that. Tell yourself to cut the shit because you're better than that. And pull yourself back to look at the whole context. Ask yourself questions like, how was I feeling? Who was I with? What was I doing there that day? What was the experience? And take yourself back to the environment and less about that one little thing. I had a client I'd done photos for, and she's like, oh, I didn't do that when I looked at my photos. I just noticed how good my calves looked. And I was like, yeah, but you went straight to your calves. Meaning you went there to make sure that they looked okay in the photograph. That was hyper-focusing. Whether they look good or not, that's on me. But, you know. So I think it's important to recognize be aware of what that is for you. When you look at a photo, what is the thing you zero in on? And be aware that you're doing it so that you can stop doing it. And again, just recognizing that, oh yeah, I felt amazing that day and I had a tummy roll while I did it. I was feeling super powerful in that moment and my chin looks like my chin always does. It's not good or bad. They just happen to happen at the same time. You could be powerful and your chin looks like that. The end. It's not... What I'm trying to get at mostly with this is that body neutrality is so important. I'm not asking you to fall in love with your bodies, which that's a dream. But let's get to neutrality first. Let's get our bodies out of the way so we can actually enjoy our fucking lives. You know what I'm saying? All right. Sorry if you have kids around and I'm swearing. I hope you have headphones on. Eee. All right. Reason number 4, and this is a big one as a photographer speaking. As humans, we like to put expectations on things that shouldn't have expectations at all. The thing about photography is that it was not invented to be perfect. All photography was invented for was to document a moment in time. That is it. Nothing more, nothing less. However, over the last 50-ish years, I would assume, we have put all these expectations on what a photo should look like as opposed to what it does look like. And does that sound similar? Because I think we treat our bodies the same way. Our bodies, just like photography, don't give any shits about beauty standards. All it is just taking a moment, this is what you look like in that split second. And I can tell you, as a photographer, when we're shooting literally at like 1/1000th of a second. That's nothing. That's a blip in your whole fucking life. Yet, we tend to hang all of these expectations on that one photo where we look for a minute, which we'll get to in a second here. But the thing is that when we do that and we remove what it's about, then we're not necessarily documenting our lives anymore. We're creating fake lives. So I say now we're doing more plandids than candids. And that's a problem because it's not the reality of your life. We all go through shitty shit. We all hate our bodies at some point. We all dislike our lives at some point. But even that is worthy of being documented because that is your story. It is not good or bad. It is just your story, and it is worth being documented as well. So we need to strip these expectations away that we have for photography and just say, that's what I look like in a minute. And I'm going to show you a good example of this. All right. So as an instructor and speaker and workshop teacher, I'm quite animated when I'm in front of a crowd. And I like to use my hands and maybe my face, make some face, whatever I need to do to get the point across. So I challenge my students to take behind the scenes photos of me. And the best ones, I usually will make my cover photo, going back to that exposure therapy thing. So let me flip around, dang it. Sorry. So sometimes I look like this. every now and then I will get, no, quite a lot, I get photos of that split second where I was talking and being super passionate about something, and that is what I looked like in that split second. However, I also know that in this split second, this is also what I looked like. I am the same person. This is me, and this is me. We've just been taught that one is better than the other. This one we're taught is a terrible photo because I have a double chin, my face looks smushy, my hair's doing something interesting, and I'm not quote-unquote posed to slim my figure. Whereas here, I have my makeup done, my hair's done, I'm smizing. It was very much a posed photograph. But I am the same person. I'm just as passionate about what I teach and talk about here as I am here. This one doesn't make me feel worse about myself than this one, because I understand that photos are just photos and they're just a split second of my life. That is it. So my hope with that expectation is that you can remove some of those expectations that you have for candids that your friends take, selfies that your friends post, you know, when you're in a wedding and you're in the background, like, nom some cake while the bride's, like, dancing. Whatever. That's what you were doing then. That's part of your life story. It's not good or bad. It just is your documentation of your life. And everybody is worth documenting. Every moment is worth documenting everything. Because when you put them all together, it tells this beautiful story. It makes like this beautiful patchwork of like, look how beautiful the human condition is. That I can look like this and I can exist like this and I get to do that and all of these things. If you go back, I'll post my Instagram later, but if you go back, I did a panel talk on a similar topic. I just booked your next one. Nice. In the next, in my Instagram, if you go back, there's a bunch of behind the scenes photos of me where they're not flattering photos. But the consensus among them was that in every one I was teaching something I'm super excited about. Oh, my phone's gonna fall. I was traveling in every single one of those. I was in a different location around the world. Like, what an amazing opportunity. Sure, I look silly some of the time, but that's how I get my point across. And that's okay, because that's what I look like in that moment. All right, now for our final one. Oh. What's happening here? Hello. I'll just tuck that back. All right. So the final one is that angles are everything. For people to know that whatever is closest to the camera is going to look the biggest. So that's a fun tip to have. So when we're growing up as photographers, a lot of times we are taught how to pose women. And we're taught, okay, here's what you need to know for women. They always want to look smaller. They always want to look slimmer. They always want to look younger. So do whatever you can. Never shoot up at a woman. Never have her sit down so that she has rolls. Never, which is a problem because I just have rolls when I'm standing. So, you know, it's going to happen. Never shoulders head onto the camera because then she might be too broad. The way fat phobia interferes with the way we perceive ourselves to have to look in photographs is insane. And it's not just fat phobia, it's also patriarchal bullshit, essentially, that women should appear smaller, more feminine, whatever the fuck that means, softer, more submissive. Like everything I just told you you shouldn't do for women, we're taught to shoot for men because it makes them look more powerful, more domineering, more aggressive, and things like that, which are attributes which men should have but women should not. I call bullshit on that. So one of my favorite things to do is actually fuck those rules and shoot the opposite. But anyways, that's beside the point. But what I'm trying to say is that there are certain angles we've been conditioned to believe are better than others. So if you're watching this on your cell phone, you won't be able to do this. But afterwards, I'm going to get you to do this little test, okay? So I'm going to show you. So with your cell phone, you're going to put it on selfie mode. So like I am looking at myself, you will look at yourself. And I want you to take a selfie from where you normally would. Fun fact, if you want good light, make sure you're facing the window, not vice versa. So the first photo we would take would normally be like eye level or slightly higher, because as photographers, we've learned that whatever's closest to the camera's biggest. So if I'm up here, my eyes are going to look big and my chin's going to look narrow. The second photo I want you to take is from down here. Yeah, that's right. Take that photo. If your boobs get in the way, you can like push them down. Just like that. Now chances are you're going to like one of those photos more than the other. And my assumption is that you're going to like picture 1 more than picture 2. Because that is what we've been conditioned to like more. 1 is more flattering, aka slimming, younger looking, not fat, basically. The other one, you have a bunch of chins, sometimes more than 2, and that's fine. And now my question to you would be, did you change the person you were between picture 1 and picture 2? Are you still the same amazing woman doing amazing shit with your life as you were in picture 1 and picture 2? Yes. The answer is yes, by the way, I'm telling you. Now, what angle do you think your children and your pets see you at the most? My guess is it's this one. Or, as somebody pointed out, your lover when you're fucking him on top. And I said, did he stop? No. Right? And do your kids love you any less because that's what they see? No. They still love you. They still think you're a beautiful princess, worthy of amazing things and capable of accomplishing good stuff. You can do so much. But the thing is, we get hung up on what we're taught as opposed to what we believe to be true. So it's up to us to undo these teachings. So the extra added homework on that is that second photo, once you take it, this one, we're gonna make a thread in the group where we'll post our picture 1 and picture 2s, and just so we can share in the delight with everyone. But if you want to take that a step further and go back to our exposure therapy that I talked about, take picture 2 and make it your home screen or your lock screen on your phone. Get used to the fact that you have multiple angles. Infinite angles. Everybody sees you differently. Nobody's going to see you the same because everyone's at a different height. Some people see you from down up here. Some people see you here. Some people from over here. Some people from down here. Some people from here. Some people from here. You get the point. Everybody sees you from different angles and they all still love you and you're still amazing, and it doesn't take away from any of your successes and achievements and all that other stuff. It's just bullshit to distract us and keep us busy. Good, yay, yes, take both, because we're going to post both in the group. I will make a thread once we're off of this for us to share it underneath. So the next time you have photos taken of you, I want you to think about everything we talked about today. Take away the personal attributes of it and say, if it bothers you, if it's a good photo, obviously embrace that. But like, if it's a photo that your initial instinct is like, ooh, and instead say, first of all, I wonder why I thought that way. What conditioning have I gone through to make me feel this way? Who taught me that one angle is better than the other? And number 2, ask yourself, is it taking away from who I am as a person? No. Like, don't let these things hold power over you. The last point I want to touch on has nothing really to do with this, but really more just to do with body image in general, is that so often we put all of our like, one of the things I always get people when they want to come in for a photo shoot but then don't, is that they're like, oh, I'd be more confident if I had bigger boobs, or I'd be more confident if I lost weight, or I'd be more confident if I was 19, whatever. Like, these excuses, which is fine, I understand it. But here's the thing. Why are you holding all your confidence in your tits, in your stomach? Would be my question. Because when we put, the thing about the body is that it is a biological organism, Its job is meant to break down from the day you're born until you die. It goes through a period of growth and then a period of death. That's what happens. Sorry to break it to you. But then we try to fight it to fit into these beauty standards that somebody decided, it wasn't me, somebody else decided we should fit into. But again, your body doesn't care about that. It's going to age whether or not you want it to. And when we put all our worth and all our value and all our confidence in this tangible meat sack of a body, what do you think is going to happen when that starts to go away? When you start to get wrinkles and start to look older, when you start to gain weight, when you start to get gray hair, when you maybe get in an accident and something happens where you're disfigured. Everything, all that confidence will go away with it. So I would prefer, and think women should, spend more time building their character, focusing on shifting their focus from changing their bodies and more so onto how we can change the world. Because God knows we need it right now. We just had an election here and it did not go well. I'm in Canada, by the way. Anyways. So that is it, my friends. I hope that gives you some insight as to why you look like shit in photographs. And that maybe it's not about you at all. It may be just what you've been trained to think. I hope that going forward, when you see a photo where it's less flattering than you desired or whatnot, you remember these 5 rules. And hopefully we'll be able to talk yourself into the fact that it's not good or bad. It just is. Okay? If you want to find out more about me, you can follow my body image stuff at terrihofford.com, TERIHOFFORD.com. Everyone puts 2 R's in my name, so I spell it the right way. Or on Instagram at Terry Hofford. I'll put these in there in the chat thing for the face things. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining and listening and being interactive. I much appreciate that when I can see that people are like listening and taking it in. That makes a big difference. Ooh, shit. Enjoy the rest. Aw, thank you, Lacey. I appreciate that. And apparently I will see you next week. I am excited. All right, talk to you later. Bye.